Hello, everyone. She was only 15 when she stepped in front of a camera, and the camera never looked away again. In an industry known for speed, youth, and constant change, Rianne Haken did not just survive, she evolved. From the covers of Vogue Italia to the runways of Paris, she became a symbol of versatility, the girl with the classic beauty of the 90s and the edge of the 2000s. She could look like a goddess one season and a warrior the next, but beneath the perfect poses and high-fashion aesthetics was a Dutch girl who once dreamed of becoming a dancer, not a global icon. Rianne never screamed for attention. She captured it with stillness, with that gaze, with timing. So how did a teenager from Lelystad, the Netherlands, quietly conquer the world's biggest fashion capitals, and why does her name still echo long after the flash fades? Rianne Haken was born in 1986 in Lelystad, a quiet, modern city in the Netherlands, built on reclaimed land. It was not a fashion capital. It was a place of discipline, order, and practicality. She grew up in a family that valued structure over spectacle, where routines mattered more than dreams. She was only 15 when she stepped in front of a camera, and the camera never looked away again. In an industry known for speed, youth, and constant change, Rianne Haken did not just survive, she evolved. She never sought to dominate headlines. She never tried to be everything to everyone. And perhaps that is exactly why Rianne Haken still lingers not as a trend, but as a standard. As a child, Rianne was introspective. She loved movement, light, and silence. Dance became her first language, a space where her emotions could breathe. She trained in ballet for years, fascinated not by applause, but by the feeling of control in her body. Her elegance was never rehearsed. It flowed naturally, shaped by rhythm, patience, and precision. From the covers of Vogue Italia to the runways of Paris, she became a symbol of versatility, the girl with the classic beauty of the 90s and the edge of the 2000s. In the ever-shifting world of fashion, she represented something rare, discipline without desperation, grace without performance, a beauty that spoke less and meant more. Her career was not built on reinvention, but on restraint. She taught an entire generation that you do not have to scream to be heard. She was tall early, too tall for her age. Her classmates noticed. So did strangers. There were whispers she should model. She looked like a statue. But Rianne did not chase beauty. She was shy, observant, slow to speak in large rooms. Her power was quiet. She could look like a goddess one season and a warrior the next, but beneath the perfect poses and high-fashion aesthetics was a Dutch girl who once dreamed of becoming a dancer, not a global icon. Rianne never screamed for attention. She captured it with stillness, with that gaze, with timing. Today, younger models still cite her as a reference, not just for her face, but for her choices, for walking away when the world begged her to stay, for showing that mystery is not weakness, it is a form of power. Her mother noticed her poise, her posture, the way she seemed to carry herself like someone older. So one day, almost on impulse, they submitted her photos to Elite Model Look, the most prestigious modeling contest in the world. Rianne did not expect much. She was only 15. So how did a teenager from Lelystad, the Netherlands, quietly conquer the world's biggest fashion capitals? And why does her name still echo long after the flash fades? She did not leave behind a fragrance line or a media empire, but she left something harder to define: a mood, a memory, a question that still echoes in the minds of those who remember her best. But something happened. What happens to the woman who never played the game and still won? In a sea of girls trying to be seen, she stood still and everyone looked. Maybe Rianne ten Haken was not forgotten. She won the Elite Model Look Netherlands competition, then went on to the international finals in Nice, France, and won again, beating thousands of hopefuls from around the globe. Just months earlier, she had been sitting in dance class. Now, the gates of the fashion world had swung open. Maybe she was simply never meant to be consumed. She was still a schoolgirl, still learning how to pose, still unsure how to talk to casting directors. But something in her shifted. The way people responded to her was new, powerful, intimidating. And whether she was ready or not, a new life had already begun. Only remembered, the fashion world did not wait. After winning Elite Model, look at just 15, Rianne 10, Haken was immediately swept into the current of high fashion. Her face, with its angular elegance and haunting eyes, was unlike anyone else's. She flew to Paris, then Milan. Photographers, casting agents, and designers all asked the same question: who is this girl? Her first test shoot was quiet. No music, just light, shadow, and a camera. She barely knew how to move, but she understood rhythm, a gift from her years of dance. The photographer stopped midway and whispered, "You do not pose, you translate." That was the beginning. What followed was fast, too fast. Magazine editorials, walks during Fashion Week, calls from New York. She was still a teenager, still navigating 2 world's high school classes in the Netherlands, and fittings in Parisian ateliers. But Rianne adapted, not with arrogance, but with observation. She studied every set, every casting, every detail. She never pretended to know more than she did. She learned by absorbing everything. Then came the moment that changed her trajectory, a cover for Vogue Italia, shot by Steven Meisel. It was 2003 and she was only 17. But the image was unforgettable, dramatic and raw. She did not smile. She stared through the page. The industry felt it. A new face had arrived, and it was not here to please. It was here to redefine. That cover was not just a breakthrough. It was a declaration. Rianne ten Haken was not a girl who fit into the mold. She became the mold. After that, the calls came from every corner. Jean-Paul Gaultier, Dior, Chanel. She walked for them all. But she never lost her stillness. She never became loud. In a world of extremes, she remained consistent, a model who knew how to vanish into each designer's vision, yet never disappear completely. She could be ethereal in one show, architectural in the next. That adaptability became her signature. Backstage, she kept to herself. No scandal, no drama, just precision. That is what made her dangerous. Not what she showed, but what she withheld. And the fashion world, forever hungry for mystery, could not look away. By the mid-2000s, Rianne ten Haken had become a fixture of high fashion. She was no longer the newcomer, she was the standard. Runways across Paris, Milan, and New York opened for her with reverence. Her name meant power in silence, precision in motion. She did not need theatrics to dominate a show. Her walk calculated, steady, sharp, could shift the entire energy of a room. Photographers waited for her angles. Editors saved pages for her face. She graced the covers of Vogue, Numero, Elle, and L'Officiel, each time reinventing herself without ever changing her essence. Designers trusted her with their most complex silhouettes. She could carry a minimalist Calvin Klein look with as much force as a sculptural Gaultier creation. Her face became the canvas for Tom Ford's vision at Gucci and the spirit of Victor and Rolf's surrealism. She blended into fantasy, but never disappeared. She became the face of major campaigns: Versace, Armani Exchange, Givenchy, La Perla. Each one revealed another layer of her range. In an era dominated by spectacle, Rianne brought back a colder, more cerebral elegance, the kind that did not beg for attention, but earned it. And while others chased celebrity, Rianne remained purely a model, No gossip, no tabloid drama, no overexposure. That restraint made her powerful. In fashion, where mystery is a luxury, she became priceless. Even in beauty campaigns, her presence was hypnotic. She was chosen by cosmetics giants for her universal face, sharp, symmetrical, yet undeniably human. The kind of face that could sell perfume, high fashion, or silence. Rianne Haken had reached the place most models never touch: total control without noise. She was no longer just a muse, she was a benchmark. In an industry that often rewards noise, Rianne Haken made silence her strength. She did not chase fame, she dismantled it by refusing to play its game. While her peers ran toward acting roles, reality show, or social media attention, Rianne stayed with fashion, not as a stepping stone, but as a discipline. Her difference was not rebellion in the traditional sense. She did not bleach her hair or give angry interviews. She simply said no. No to projects that felt exploitative, no to overexposure, no to the idea that a woman must perform to remain visible. She guarded her image with the precision of a strategist, and that was revolutionary. She could have been everywhere on talk shows, in scandals, building a brand around a persona. But Rianne Haken believed the work should speak first. She turned down campaigns that felt off-brand, chose photographers she trusted, took breaks when others feared disappearing. At a time when being loud was confused with being strong, she taught a different kind of resistance, measured, minimal, meticulous. It was not about shocking the world. It was about not letting the world decide your terms. She once said in a rare interview, "I never wanted to be a celebrity. I wanted to be an artist's tool." That sentence shocked people. In an age of personal branding, here was someone who did not want to be a brand. She wanted to disappear into the craft. But that choice made her unforgettable. When social media took over the modeling world, Rianne did not rush to adapt. She remained distant, almost ghost-like. And somehow, that made her even more magnetic. Clients knew that with Rianne came control, taste, and mystery, all the things algorithms cannot manufacture. She rejected the idea that models must bear everything: their souls, their opinions, their relationships to stay relevant. Her silence became louder than noise. That was her resistance, and it worked. There was no scandal, no meltdown, no paparazzi chase. Rianne Haken did not vanish because she failed. She vanished because she had nothing left to prove. By the late 2010s, the modeling landscape had transformed. Influence was no longer defined by editorial pages or runways. It was measured in followers, likes, algorithms. Fashion houses began hiring digital personalities, not always for talent, but for reach. And Rianne, she remained analog in a digital war. She never embraced Instagram fame. She rarely gave interviews. She did not upload vlogs or share skincare routines. As the world demanded more access, she offered less. And eventually, the industry, always hungry for newness, moved on. Not because she was irrelevant, but because she was invisible by design. There were moments of return, a striking editorial here, a runway appearance there, but they were rare, deliberate, each time. She reminded the world that beauty does not age when it is rooted in essence. Still, for most, she had faded from the spotlight. Some questioned her silence, some assumed she had been pushed out. But in truth, Rianne chose retreat, to rest, to explore other forms of creativity, to live outside the rhythm of seasons, collections, and castings. She never announced a goodbye. She just became quiet. Again. In the rare moments she did speak, her tone was steady, grateful, not bitter. She acknowledged the shifts in fashion, the rise of social media, the pressure to perform online. But she never apologized for not playing along. "I never wanted my entire life online," she once said. "Some things are better when they belong only to you." It was not a cry for attention, it was a boundary. And perhaps that is the most radical thing a supermodel can do in today's world: to walk away with dignity intact. Not broken, just done. Rianne ten Haken disappeared like she arrived with elegance, silence, and total control. She never sought to dominate headlines. She never tried to be everything to everyone. And perhaps that is exactly why Rianne ten Haken still lingers not as a trend, but as a standard. In the ever-shifting world of fashion, she represented something rare, discipline without desperation, grace without performance, a beauty that spoke less and meant more. Her career was not built on reinvention, but on restraint. She taught an entire generation that you do not have to scream to be heard. Today, younger models still cite her as a reference, not just for her face, but for her choices, for walking away when the world begged her to stay, for showing that mystery is not weakness, it is a form of power. She did not leave behind a fragrance line or a media empire, but she left something harder to define, a mood, a memory, a question that still echoes in the minds of those who remember her best. What happens to the woman who never played the game and still won? Maybe Rianne ten Haken was not forgotten. Maybe she was simply never meant to be consumed, only remembered.